Welcome to this transformative video, where we unravel the hidden wisdom of life through the simplest act, drinking water. Have you ever wondered how such an ordinary thing could hold extraordinary lessons for both your body and mind? Today, we'll dive deep into the secrets that ancient sages and modern science alike have uncovered about hydration and its profound effects on your health. From improving your digestion to enhancing mental clarity, every step we share builds toward a life of balance and vitality. Stay with me until the end, because the final tip could change how you approach hydration forever. You won't want to miss this. Before we start, I'd appreciate your support. If you liked the video, please subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated on future lessons. Before we get into the practical tips, let me share a powerful story that perfectly captures the essence of what we'll be discussing today. It's a story from ancient times, passed down through generations, about a wise sage who lived in the highest peaks of the Himalayas. His name was Elder Kailash, a man who was not only revered for his spiritual wisdom, but also for his incredible longevity. People from all over the world traveled to his mountain in search of guidance and the secrets to a healthy, balanced life. One day, a young traveler named Ravi, filled with curiosity and ambition, decided to embark on the long and treacherous journey to meet this legendary sage. After days of battling the harsh mountain terrain, he finally reached the cave where Elder Kailash lived. Ravi, exhausted from his journey and parched from the climb, immediately took out his canteen and started guzzling down large amounts of water without a second thought. Elder Kailash, observing Ravi, smiled warmly but said nothing at first. When Ravi had finished drinking, the elder finally spoke. "Young man, you have come all this way in search of wisdom, yet you don't even know how to perform the most basic act of life, drinking water." Ravi, surprised by the elder's words, replied, "Surely, you must be joking. Drinking water is as simple as bringing it to my mouth and swallowing. How can anyone do that wrong?" Elder Kailash's eyes sparkled with kindness as he responded, "Water is indeed the essence of life, but just like everything else, it must be treated with respect and awareness. Most people don't realize that how they drink water can either nourish their body or lead to imbalances that may cause discomfort and illness. The problem is not water itself, but the way in which people consume it." Confused but intrigued, Ravi asked, "But how can drinking water cause harm? Isn't it supposed to hydrate us and keep us healthy?" The sage nodded and continued, "It's true that water is meant to hydrate and cleanse our body, but when consumed carelessly, it can create more problems than it solves. One of the most common mistakes is drinking too much water all at once, especially during or immediately after meals. Doing so can dilute your digestive enzymes, making it harder for your body to process food, which may lead to bloating, indigestion, or even nutrient deficiencies over time." Ravi's eyes widened in realization. "I never thought about it that way. What else am I doing wrong?" Elder Kailash went on to explain that not only the quantity, but also the timing and the manner in which we drink water affects our health. For instance, the sage continued, "When you drink water while standing, your body is unable to properly absorb it, and the water rushes through your system without being processed. On the other hand, if you sit down and sip slowly, allowing the water to gradually enter your system, it hydrates your cells more effectively." Ravi listened intently, absorbing the wisdom of the elder. "So, drinking water slowly in moderation and at the right times can improve my health?" he asked. "Exactly," replied Elder Kailash. "Water is a gift to the body, but like all gifts, it must be received in the right way for it to bring true benefits. Make it a practice to sit, breathe, and drink with intention. This small change in your daily habits can lead to significant transformations in your health and well-being." As Ravi left the mountain, he was not only physically lighter, but mentally transformed, realizing that even the smallest actions, like drinking water, can have a profound impact on his health and life. And that's the lesson I want to leave you with today. Stay tuned as I walk you through the same principles Elder Kailash shared with Ravi. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how proper hydration can become a powerful tool for boosting your health. Each step I'll share is backed by ancient wisdom and modern science, so be sure to pay close attention, because this might just change how you think about hydration forever. And don't miss the last tip. It's one that most people overlook but can make all the difference. Now, let's talk about a habit that may seem completely harmless at first glance, but can have surprising effects on your health. This habit is so ingrained in many people's daily routines that they often don't realize the subtle harm it's causing. I'm talking about the way we drink water, especially when we consume large amounts all at once. You might think you're doing something good for your body by staying hydrated, but gulping down water quickly can actually disrupt a critical part of your body's natural processes. When we flood our system with too much water in a short period, particularly during meals, we dilute the essential gastric juices that our stomach needs for proper digestion. These gastric juices contain enzymes and acids that break down food so that the body can absorb nutrients effectively. By diluting these juices, we essentially slow down the digestive process, which can lead to issues like bloating, indigestion, and poor nutrient absorption. Over time, this habit can even contribute to more chronic digestive problems. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. But that's not all. There's another factor at play that many people overlook. Drinking cold water during meals, which may feel refreshing, can also put a strain on your digestion. In ancient Ayurvedic teachings, there's a concept called Agni, or digestive fire. This internal heat is considered essential for breaking down food and converting it into energy. Drinking cold water, especially while eating, is said to dampen this fire, making the digestion process slower and less efficient. So, even if you're consuming nutritious food, if your body isn't able to process it properly, you're not getting the full benefit. This brings me to a story about a young man named Ravi, who sought out the wisdom of a renowned sage named Elder Kailash, who lived high in the Himalayan mountains. Elder Kailash was known for his deep understanding of both spiritual and physical health. Many people traveled great distances to seek his counsel on how to live a long, healthy, and balanced life. One day, Ravi, a determined young adventurer, decided to make the arduous journey to Elder Kailash's cave in search of enlightenment. After days of climbing the steep, rugged mountains, he finally arrived, exhausted and thirsty. Without thinking, he pulled out his water bottle and started gulping down large amounts of water to quench his thirst. The elder watched Ravi closely, but said nothing at first. When Ravi had finished drinking, Elder Kailash smiled and said, "You have traveled far to seek wisdom, yet I see that you do not even know how to drink water properly." Startled by this statement, Ravi looked up in confusion. "How can one drink water incorrectly?" he asked. "Surely, all that matters is that it quenches my thirst." The wise sage chuckled softly and replied, "Ah, young man, this is a common misunderstanding. Just as with many things in life, the way you do something matters just as much as what you do. Water is life, yes, but if you consume it carelessly, you do more harm than good." Ravi was intrigued and asked the elder to explain further. Elder Kailash continued, "Most people have been led to believe that they need to drink 8 glasses of water a day, as though that number holds some universal truth. But let me ask you this. Would you water every plant in a garden the same way, regardless of its size, soil, and needs? Of course not. Some plants need more water, and others less. Some need it frequently, while others thrive on occasional watering." He then picked up a small, delicate leaf that had fallen nearby and held it up in front of Ravi. Just as every leaf is unique, so too is everybody. Each person has different needs based on factors such as their weight, the climate they live in, how much physical activity they do, and even the kinds of food they eat. Forcing your body to follow rigid hydration rules doesn't make sense. Ravi, curious and eager to learn, asked, "But how can I tell how much water is right for me?" The elder smiled and said, "That's an excellent question. The key is to learn to listen to your body's signals. Your thirst is one clue, but it is not the only one. A better way to gauge your hydration is by paying attention to the color of your urine. If it's a light yellow, you're likely well hydrated. If it's dark, it means your body needs more water. But that's not all," Elder Kailash continued. "It's not just about how much water you drink, but also how you drink it. Drinking slowly, in small sips, allows your body to absorb water more efficiently. It's especially important to avoid chugging large amounts of water during or immediately after meals, as this can dilute the digestive enzymes and make it harder for your stomach to process the food. Ravi nodded thoughtfully, realizing that even something as simple as drinking water could have a profound impact on his health. The elder then gave one final piece of advice. Be mindful not to drink water that is too cold, especially during meals. Cold water can shock your digestive system and extinguish your digestive fire, making the whole process slower and more difficult. It's better to drink room temperature or warm water, which is gentler on your body. As Ravi left Elder Kailash's cave that day, he was not only physically lighter, but mentally transformed. He realized that true wisdom lies in paying attention to even the smallest details of life, like how we drink water. And that's the lesson I want to leave you with today. Stay tuned as I walk you through more tips that will help transform your daily habits and, ultimately, your overall well-being. You'll be surprised by how much of a difference these small changes can make. And don't forget, the last tip I'll share might just change how you think about hydration forever. Envision your body as a grand symphony, Elder Kailash began, his voice rich with the depth of years of wisdom, each organ a vital instrument, playing its part in the harmonious rhythm of life. The strings of your heart, the wind of your lungs, the percussion of your muscles, they all depend on the flow of water to perform their roles flawlessly. Too much water, however, and the music falters, becoming chaotic and discordant. Too little, and the melody weakens, a ghost of its full potential. Ravi listened intently, his curiosity piqued by the elder's poetic analogy. He had always thought of hydration as a simple act, yet now it seemed far more intricate. But elder, Ravi asked, his voice thoughtful, I've always heard that coffee and tea can dehydrate you. Isn't that true? A gentle smile crept across Elder Kailash's face, as though he had answered this question 1,000 times before. Ah, the old myth of dehydration, he mused, his eyes twinkling with knowing amusement. It's a common misunderstanding, my child. Yes, caffeine has a mild diuretic effect, but it's nowhere near enough to cancel out the hydration provided by these beverages. In truth, tea and coffee can still contribute to your body's hydration levels. They are not the villains many believe them to be. But, he added with a meaningful pause, no drink surpasses water in its purity and power to nourish. As the elder spoke, his words seemed to carry a profound gravity, and Ravi found himself hanging onto every syllable. The Institute of Medicine in the U.S. recommends that men consume around 3 liters of fluids a day, and women about 2.2 liters, Elder Kailash continued, his voice steady and sure. But people often forget that this isn't just about what you drink. The water found in food, fruits, vegetables, soups, all of that counts toward your hydration. Life itself, in all its forms, is infused with water. Ravi nodded, the elder's words igniting a spark of understanding within him. But Elder Kailash was far from finished. His tone grew softer, more reverent, as though he were revealing a secret held close to his heart. Hydration is not just a physical need. It's an intimate conversation with your body, like a master conductor guiding an orchestra. You must learn when to increase the flow, when to hold back. Too much water, and you drown your cells, diluting the delicate balance of electrolytes. Too little, and your energy fades, your thoughts blur, and even your spirit may grow weary. It's a delicate balance, a fine line you must walk. Imagine you are preparing a feast for honored guests, the elder said, his hands gesturing as if laying out a grand banquet. Before you serve the meal, you must clean the table, arrange the place settings, make sure everything is in order. Drinking water before a meal is like preparing the digestive system for the food that is to come. It clears the pathways so that when you eat, your body can focus on absorbing the nutrients without struggle. But, he continued, raising a finger for emphasis, you must not drink too much water during the meal. A few sips, yes, but if you flood your stomach with water while it is trying to digest, you weaken the digestive fire. It's like pouring water on a flame. You douse the energy needed to break down the food. Ravi's mind raced as he tried to piece together everything the elder was teaching him. Each piece of advice felt both practical and profound, as if it applied not just to water, but to life itself. Elder Kailash watched him carefully, sensing his inner reflection. There are moments in the day when water becomes more than just a need. It becomes a tool for healing, he said softly. During times of physical exertion, when you sweat and your body loses its precious fluids, water is the elixir that replenishes you. But even then, you must drink slowly, mindfully, allowing your body to absorb the water gradually. Ravi looked up, his eyes full of understanding. And before bed? He asked, already anticipating the elder's answer. Elder Kailash nodded, his expression one of deep approval. Yes, a small glass of water before bed can be a great gift to your body, helping it to rest and heal through the night. But be careful not to drink too much, for too much water before sleep will disrupt your rest. The elder leaned back, his voice now calm and steady, as if concluding a great lesson. Water, my son, is life's most essential gift. But it is not merely the act of drinking that matters. It is the intention behind it, the awareness of your body's needs, and the respect for the rhythm of life. If you honor these truths, you will not only be healthy, but you will live in harmony with the natural world. Ravi sat in silence, his heart full. He had come seeking simple health advice, yet he felt he had received something far more valuable, a way of thinking about life, of caring for his body with mindfulness and respect. The elder's words had awakened something deep within him, something that would guide him for years to come. Thank you, Elder, Ravi said quietly, his voice filled with gratitude. Elder Kailash smiled, a twinkle in his eye. You are welcome, my son. Now go forth and drink wisely. Before each meal, the elder continued with a calm, deliberate tone, drink a glass of water, but not immediately before you eat. Do it about 15 minutes ahead of time, as if giving your stomach a gentle reminder. Prepare yourself. Nourishment is on its way. This small but profound habit is worth its weight in gold. By drinking water before meals, you not only help manage your appetite, but also give your digestive system the jumpstart it needs to process food more efficiently. Elder Kailash paused, his words settling like ripples on a still pond, giving Ravi time to reflect. Elder Kailash then leaned in slightly, his expression growing more serious. But here's where many are surprised, he added, lowering his voice as if sharing a closely guarded secret. After you've finished your meal, resist the urge to drink immediately. Wait, be patient, just as water is patient. Give it at least an hour before you take another sip. Ravi furrowed his brow, intrigued by this unexpected advice. Why wait? He asked, his curiosity piqued. The elder smiled knowingly, sensing the importance of this lesson. Think of it this way, he began, drawing upon one of his vivid analogies. Imagine you've just built a fire to cook a meal. The flames are roaring, doing their job, turning raw ingredients into something nourishing. Now, what happens if you pour water on that fire before the food is ready? It dies out, right? The same thing happens in your stomach. The gastric juices are like that fire, working diligently to break down and digest the food. But if you flood them with water right after eating, you dampen their power. The process slows down, and digestion becomes less efficient. Ravi nodded slowly, the image of the fire in his mind perfectly capturing the elder's wisdom. He had never thought of digestion in such a way, but now it made perfect sense. Elder Kailash continued. Interestingly enough, this teaching aligns with what many modern nutritionists are now discovering. Drinking too much water immediately after eating can dilute the stomach acids that play a critical role in digestion, making it more difficult for your body to process the nutrients efficiently. Ancient wisdom and modern science often agree, though they come from different paths. Ravi's eyes widened in recognition, the elder's words weaving together past and present, tradition and science, in a way that felt both comforting and profound. The elder wasn't done yet, and as the sun sets, he said softly, his voice taking on a more reflective tone, you should drink again, but lightly. Water is life, yes, but it also respects the body's need for rest. Too much water before bed, and you'll find yourself up and down all night, interrupting your sleep with trips to the bathroom. With a playful wink, Elder Kailash added, remember, my son, water is your friend, but like any good friendship, it's about quality, not quantity. It's not about drowning your system, but about nourishing it at the right moments in the right amounts. Ravi couldn't help but smile, feeling a mixture of gratitude and awe. "This advice feels like common sense now that you've explained it," he said, "but it's so easy to overlook in the rush of everyday life." Elder Kailash nodded sagely. "That is the essence of ancient wisdom," he said. "It reminds us that nature, in all its simplicity, has its own rhythms, and our bodies are part of that grand cycle. When we sync our habits, like drinking water, with those natural rhythms, we align ourselves with the flow of life. We optimize not just our health, but our overall sense of well-being." Ravi sat back, absorbing the gravity of what he had just learned. Something so basic, water, had now taken on an entirely new significance in his mind. It was no longer just about quenching thirst, but about respecting the body, understanding its needs, and honoring its rhythms. "Wow," he finally said, his voice filled with newfound clarity. "With the right technique for drinking water, everything changes." Elder Kailash chuckled softly, his eyes shining with approval. "Indeed, my young friend, everything changes when we begin to pay attention to life's smallest details. And in those small details, we find the key to living wisely, living well." Ravi felt a deep sense of peace wash over him, as if he had unlocked a secret that had always been there, waiting for him to see it. He realized that this lesson was not just about water or digestion. It was about life itself. It was about listening to the body, respecting nature, and moving through the world with a sense of harmony and balance. Elder Kailash stood up slowly, his hands clasped behind his back, and looked out over the horizon. "Remember, my son," he said, his voice soft but steady. "Life, like water, flows. The key is not to fight the current, but to move with it, to nourish yourself when the time is right, and to understand that balance is the source of all health, all peace, and all happiness." As the elder walked away, Ravi sat in quiet contemplation, his heart full of gratitude for the lesson he had just received. He knew that from this day forward, he would never look at a glass of water the same way again. The young man sat in front of the wise elder, intrigued by his words, but still somewhat puzzled. He leaned forward, his curiosity driving him to ask more. "Master," Ravi began, his voice filled with a mixture of wonder and confusion, "how can something as simple and natural as drinking water be done incorrectly?" Elder Kailash, with a calm and knowing smile, leaned back and gazed thoughtfully at Ravi. His eyes sparkled with the wisdom of many years, and his hands, steady and deliberate, gestured toward the cup of water on the table between them. "Ah, my young friend," he began, "it is not just the act of drinking water that matters, but how we drink, when we drink, and the awareness with which we drink. You see, in the rush of our modern lives, we have forgotten how to truly listen to our bodies. We gulp water down without thought, much like we rush through the moments of our day without appreciating them. But nature has much to teach us, if only we pause to observe." Ravi furrowed his brow, trying to grasp the deeper meaning behind the elder's words. He had never thought much about how he drank water. It was just something one did, without giving it any thought. But now, as Elder Kailash spoke, he began to realize that perhaps there was more to this simple act than he had ever considered. The elder reached for the small glass of water in front of him, holding it gently, as though it were something sacred. "Look at a child," he continued, his voice gentle but filled with conviction. "A young child, untainted by the hurry of the world, drinks in small, frequent sips. The child listens to their body, taking only what is needed, when it is needed. In this, nature shows us the way. But as we grow older, we forget these lessons. We rush through life, we rush through meals, and we even rush through water, pouring it into our bodies without care, without thought." Ravi nodded, beginning to see the elder's point. There was a certain grace in the way a child approached life, a simplicity and mindfulness that adults often lost in their busyness. "So, we've forgotten how to drink properly?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. Elder Kailash smiled, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "In a way, yes," he said softly. "Let me explain. Imagine your body as a dry, parched garden. If you pour an entire bucket of water onto the garden all at once, what happens? Most of it runs off, unable to penetrate the soil deeply enough to nourish the plants. The earth can only absorb so much at once. But if you water the garden slowly, drop by drop, the water has time to seep into the soil, nourishing it deeply. The same is true of your body. When you drink water too quickly, your body struggles to absorb it all. Much of it passes through you without being utilized. Ravi's eyes widened as the metaphor took root in his mind. So, we should drink slowly, like watering a garden, he said, more to himself than to the elder. Precisely, the elder said with a nod. Drink in small sips, not gulps. Take your time, and let your body absorb each drop, like a dry soil soaking in the rain. This is not just some poetic notion. Even science supports this wisdom. Dr. Sharma, a leading expert on hydration, has shown through his research that drinking water in small amounts throughout the day allows for better absorption and utilization by the body. When we drink too much at once, we overwhelm our systems, and the water moves through us too quickly. Ravi sat back, considering the elder's words. This was something entirely new to him. But how exactly should we be drinking water, Master? He asked, eager to learn more. Elder Kailash leaned forward slightly, as if to impart a great secret. The first step is simple but often overlooked. He began. Sit up straight. Good posture allows the water to flow smoothly through your body, helping it to be absorbed more efficiently. Then take small sips, no more than 1 glass at a time. Drink slowly, savoring each sip as if it were something precious. Water is life, after all. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Ravi chuckled softly at the thought. Savoring water like a fine wine, he asked, half joking, half serious. The elder smiled warmly, his laugh a low, gentle rumble. Yes, exactly, he said, and laugh while you're at it. Laughter relaxes the body, and a relaxed body is better at absorbing water. But there's more to it than just slowing down. After each sip, pause for a moment. Breathe deeply, and feel how the water nourishes your body. It's not just about drinking. It's about being present in the act, about connecting with the life force that water represents. Ravi's laughter faded into quiet contemplation as the elder's words sank in. Drinking water had always been a routine act, something he did without thought. But now he could see it as something much deeper. It's about mindfulness, he said softly, more to himself than to the elder. Exactly, Elder Kailash said, his voice full of approval. When we drink with awareness, when we give our bodies what they need in the right amounts at the right times, we achieve balance. And balance is the key to health, to harmony, to living well. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The elder leaned back slightly, his gaze steady on Ravi. There's more, he said, his voice dropping to a near whisper, as if revealing an ancient truth. After you eat, for instance, do not rush to drink water. Wait at least an hour. Why, you might ask? Because your stomach is like a cooking fire. The digestive juices are working hard to break down the food you've eaten. If you pour water on that fire too soon, you douse the flames, slowing the digestive process. Ravi's eyes widened in surprise. So, drinking right after a meal is harmful? He asked. Yes, the elder said, his tone serious but calm. Drinking water immediately after eating can dilute your stomach acids, making digestion less efficient. Modern nutritionists now agree with this ancient wisdom. The key is to wait, to let your body do its work. Drink water before your meal to prepare your stomach. But after eating, be patient. Ravi nodded, the elder's teachings making perfect sense. But what about athletes? He asked, thinking of the people he had seen chugging water after intense workouts. Don't they need to drink large amounts of water all at once? Elder Kailash smiled, understanding the question. Athletes do need more water, especially after intense physical activity, he said. But even then, the body benefits more from drinking in intervals, rather than all at once. Drinking too much too quickly can overwhelm the body, leading to discomfort. Even in moments of great exertion, the principles of balance and mindfulness apply. Ravi leaned back, his mind racing with the depth of what he had learned. What had started as a simple question about water had turned into a lesson about life itself, about patience, mindfulness, and the importance of balance. He realized that the elder's teachings weren't just about hydration. They were about living with intention, about paying attention to the small things that made all the difference. "Thank you, Master," Ravi said, his voice filled with gratitude. "I had no idea there was so much wisdom in something as simple as drinking water." Elder Kailash smiled, his eyes full of warmth. "The simplest things," he said softly, "often carry the greatest truths. It is up to us to notice them. Now go, my son, and drink with awareness. Your body will thank you, and your life will be better for it." As Ravi stood to leave, he couldn't help but smile to himself. He had come seeking knowledge about health, but what he had found was something much deeper, a way of living with greater care, greater presence, and greater understanding. And it all began with a simple glass of water. The young man sat eagerly before the elder, his eyes filled with anticipation. He had been absorbing the wisdom of Elder Kailash for what felt like hours, and yet each word only deepened his thirst for understanding. Finally, Ravi leaned forward, his curiosity bubbling over. "Master," he asked, "how can something as simple as drinking water be done incorrectly? Isn't it just a matter of quenching thirst?" Elder Kailash smiled warmly, the kind of smile that comes from years of seeing the world through a lens of deep understanding. His eyes twinkled with the light of unspoken wisdom. "Ah, my son," he began, his voice soft and patient. "What seems simple is often far more intricate than we realize. Water is the essence of life, but like all things, it must be used wisely. Many rush through life, gulping water down without thought, believing that the goal is simply to quench thirst. But just as you would not rush through a meal, you should not rush through water. It is a gift, one that must be received with care." Ravi furrowed his brow, intrigued but unsure where this conversation was headed. "But isn't it just about staying hydrated, Master?" he asked. "What more is there to it?" The elder chuckled softly and leaned back, his hands resting lightly in his lap. "Think of it this way," he began. "Your body is like a complex and delicate garden. If you pour a flood of water onto that garden all at once, the soil will be overwhelmed. The plants cannot absorb the water quickly enough, and much of it will simply run off, wasted. But if you water the garden gently, consistently, with just the right amount at the right time, the soil will absorb every drop, and the plants will thrive. This is how you must think of your own body when you drink water." Ravi nodded slowly, his mind painting the picture of the garden. He had never thought about drinking water this way before. It had always been such a mechanical act. Grab a glass, drink, repeat. "Your body," Elder Kailash continued, "is wise. It knows what it needs, but it can only process so much at once. When you drink water slowly, in small sips, it allows your cells to absorb the moisture fully, nourishing every part of you. But when you drink too quickly or too much at once, you overwhelm your system. Most of that water will pass through you without being utilized. The key is to approach hydration with mindfulness and patience, much like every other aspect of life." Ravi's eyes lit up with understanding. "So, it's not just about quantity but the way we drink," he said softly. "Exactly," the elder replied, nodding with approval. "And this is not merely ancient wisdom but has been proven through modern science as well. Dr. Patel, a respected researcher in the field of human physiology, has shown that small, consistent sips of water allow for better absorption at the cellular level. When we gulp down large amounts too quickly, the body cannot process it efficiently, and much of it is simply wasted." Ravi sat back, marveling at how something so simple could hold such depth. He had always been told to drink more water, but no one had ever explained how. Elder Kailash took a small glass of water from the table and held it up between them. "Let this be a reminder," he said. "Drink slowly, savor each sip, and let the water nourish you from the inside out. When you drink mindlessly, you are only going through the motions. But when you drink with awareness, you are giving your body the care it deserves. Water is life itself, and in every sip, you are replenishing not only your physical being, but your spirit as well." Ravi's lips parted in awe. "You make it sound like a sacred act," he said, smiling. The elder's eyes softened. "It is," he replied simply. "Everything in life is sacred when done with intention, even drinking water." Ravi laughed, unable to contain his surprise. So, Master, should I meditate every time I drink water? Should I treat it like a spiritual practice? Elder Kailash's laughter echoed in the small room, rich and full of warmth. Ah, youth, he said, shaking his head gently, always searching for shortcuts to enlightenment. No, my son, you don't need to meditate every time you drink water. But what you must do is remain aware. Drinking water isn't just about the physical act. It's about listening to your body and responding to its needs in a mindful way. In that sense, yes, it is a kind of meditation, but a meditation rooted in everyday life. Ravi's smile broadened, appreciating the simplicity of the elder's words. Awareness in all things, he murmured, more to himself than to the elder. Exactly, the elder replied. Awareness in all things, even in the most basic of actions. When you drink with awareness, you begin to understand your body on a deeper level. You can feel when it truly needs water and when it does not. You can discern how much is enough and when to stop. Your body will tell you all of these things if you only take the time to listen. Ravi nodded, but his curiosity remained piqued. But Master, he said after a pause, what about when it's hot and all I want is a cold glass of water? Isn't that the best way to cool down? Elder Kailash leaned forward, his expression thoughtful, and his voice dropped to a more serious tone. Ah, the temptation of cold water on a hot day, he said with a knowing smile. Yes, it feels refreshing at first, doesn't it? The shock of cold water on your tongue, the way it seems to instantly cool you. But what most people don't realize is that ice-cold water can actually have the opposite effect on your body. Ravi looked confused. What do you mean? He asked, frowning slightly. The elder placed the glass of water back on the table and folded his hands. When you drink ice-cold water, especially when your body is hot, you cause a sudden drop in temperature in your stomach. This shocks the system. Your body, always trying to maintain balance, responds by generating heat to counteract the sudden cold. So, while you might feel cooler for a moment, your body will actually begin working harder to bring itself back to its natural temperature. This can make you feel hotter in the long run. Ravi's eyes widened in surprise. So, drinking ice-cold water can actually make you hotter? Yes, Elder Kailash said with a nod. Your body works tirelessly to maintain its internal balance. When you introduce something extreme, whether it's too hot or too cold, it must expend energy to correct that imbalance. Room temperature or slightly cool water is far better for maintaining your body's equilibrium. It cools you gradually and allows your body to absorb it more easily without the shock. Ravi sat back, letting this new knowledge sink in. He had never considered that something as seemingly harmless as ice-cold water could disrupt the body's balance. It was a small but powerful revelation. So, it's about balance, Ravi said quietly, more to himself than to the elder. Always, Elder Kailash replied, his voice calm and steady. In all things, balance is key. Not too much, not too little, not too cold, not too hot. Your body is constantly seeking harmony, and your job is to support that process by giving it what it needs in the right way. Ravi smiled, feeling as though he had unlocked a deeper understanding of not only water, but of life itself. Thank you, Master, he said softly. I never thought something as simple as drinking water could carry so much wisdom. Elder Kailash smiled warmly, his eyes filled with pride and affection. The simplest things, my son, often carry the greatest truths. It is up to us to see them. Now go. And remember, each sip is a gift to your body, a moment of renewal. Drink wisely, live wisely. Ravi bowed his head in gratitude, knowing that from this day forward, he would never drink water the same way again. The elder had transformed the most basic act into a profound lesson on balance, awareness, and respect for the body's natural wisdom. The young man, intrigued, thought for a moment. Well, Master, I suppose it would tell me that cold water is refreshing and quickly quenches thirst. The elder nodded in understanding. It's natural to think that way. But let me share with you a secret that ancient sages knew well. The temperature of the water we drink is just as important as the amount. Imagine your body as a delicate garden. Cold water is like a torrential rain that can drown the plants, while warm water is like a gentle drizzle that nourishes every root. Modern science confirms this ancient wisdom, continued Elder Kailash. According to a study by the National Hydration Institute, warm water is absorbed more quickly by the body, aiding digestion and improving stomach health. It's like giving your body a hug from the inside. The master continued. Additionally, studies have shown that regular consumption of warm water can improve blood flow, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy heart and preventing cardiovascular diseases. An article published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition suggests that drinking warm water can help relieve pain associated with irritable bowel syndrome, a digestive disorder that affects many people today. But Master, interrupted Ravi with a mischievous smile, does that mean I have to give up my cold drinks in summer forever? The elder chuckled. Ah, youth and its extremes. No, my young friend. Life is about balance. An occasional glass of cold water won't hurt you. But for your daily health, warm or room temperature water is your best ally. Elder Kailash continued. Warm water helps break down the food we eat, increasing digestive power and improving stomach health. It's like having a cleaning team working efficiently in your digestive system. This wisdom isn't new. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, recommended drinking warm water more than 2,000 years ago. And in traditional Chinese medicine, it's believed that cold water can extinguish the digestive fire. Even in Ayurvedic medicine, warm water is thought to balance the dashas, the energies that govern our body, and promote longevity and vitality. Think of your body as a finely tuned machine, the elder explained. Cold water makes your organs work harder to warm it up, diverting energy from other important processes. Warm water, on the other hand, flows harmoniously with your body's temperature. Fascinated, Ravi asked. And what about drinking hot water, Master? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Excellent question, replied Elder Kailash. Hot water, especially in the morning, can be very beneficial. It helps stimulate digestion, improve circulation, and can even relieve congestion. It's like gently waking up your body. In fact, some studies suggest that starting the day with hot water can improve metabolism and promote weight loss. Dr. Sharma, in his book Your Body's Many Cries for Water, suggests that drinking warm water can even help prevent and relieve headaches and migraines. Additionally, another benefit of hot water is its ability to detoxify the body by increasing perspiration, eliminating toxins through the skin. Remember, continued the elder, your body is wise. Listen to it. If you're thirsty, drink. If you're cold, avoid ice-cold water. If you need to cool down, a little cold water is fine. But to truly nourish your body, warm water is your best choice. The young man nodded, understanding the depth of this seemingly simple teaching. It's fascinating how something as basic as the temperature of water can have such a big impact on our health. He reflected. The elder concluded, in life, small changes can have big results. Just as a slight breeze can change the course of a ship, adjusting the temperature of the water you drink can transform your well-being. Always remember, my young friend, that wisdom lies in the details. Now you're ready to learn how water can be your best medicine. Imagine being able to relieve headaches, improve your digestion, and even clear your mind, all with something as simple as H2O. The young man, intrigued, leaned forward. How is that possible, Master? Can water do all that? Ah, my young friend, replied Elder Kailash. Water is more powerful than most imagine. As the philosopher Thales of Miletus said, water is the principle of all things. And he was not wrong. The wise man began listing the surprising benefits of water. First, water is a natural pain reliever. Did you know that many headaches are simply a sign of dehydration? Drinking water consistently can prevent and relieve these headaches better than any pill. In fact, a study published in the European Journal of Neurology showed that people who increased their daily water intake experienced fewer migraine and headache episodes overall. Before we move on to the second surprising benefit of water, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you enjoy this type of content as much as I do, comment I love wisdom. By the way, also comment on what you'd like to see in future videos. I read all the comments. Let's keep learning together and improving our lives. Second, water is the best detoxifier. It cleanses your body of toxins and improves kidney function, like an internal cleaning team working 24/7. According to the National Kidney Foundation, staying well hydrated helps prevent the formation of kidney stones and promotes the elimination of waste through urine. Third, water improves your digestion. It helps break down food and prevents constipation. Remember when we talked about drinking warm water? This is especially beneficial for your digestive system. Water acts as a lubricant for the intestines, making it easier for food and waste to move through the digestive tract. Ravi listened fascinated. And what about the mind, Master? You mentioned it could clear thoughts. He asked curiously. Excellent observation, nodded Elder Kailash. The brain is largely made up of water, about 75%. Staying well hydrated improves concentration, memory, and mood. It's like giving your brain a refreshing bath from the inside. A study conducted by the Journal of Nutrition found that even mild dehydration can negatively affect cognitive functions, particularly in terms of concentration and alertness. But that's not all, continued the elder with a smile. Water can also be your ally in weight loss. Drinking a glass before meals helps you feel fuller and eat less. It's the cheapest and healthiest appetite suppressant there is. A study published in the journal Obesity found that people who drank water before each meal lost 44% more weight over a 12-week period than those who didn't. Ravi couldn't help but laugh. Master, you make water sound magical. It's not magic, it's science, replied Elder Kailash. But there's more. Water improves your skin's health, reducing wrinkles and giving it a natural glow. When you're well hydrated, your skin stays more elastic and less prone to wrinkles. Water also helps eliminate toxins that can cause acne and other skin problems. In fact, dermatologists like Dr. Joshua Zeisner recommend drinking enough water to maintain healthy, radiant skin. Additionally, water helps regulate body temperature and lubricates joints. It's like oil for your body's machinery. Keeping your joints well hydrated can prevent pain and stiffness, especially if you're physically active or suffer from arthritis. An article in the American College of Rheumatology highlights that proper hydration is crucial for maintaining cartilage elasticity and lubrication. The wise man paused and then said, "Let me tell you about Maria, a woman who came to me years ago with chronic health problems. I taught her these hydration techniques, and in just a month, her headaches disappeared, her skin improved noticeably, and her energy skyrocketed. She said it felt like she had discovered the fountain of youth." Ravi sat quietly, absorbing the elder's words, but his mind continued to race with questions. His curiosity, once again sparked by the elder's wisdom, finally broke the silence. "Master," he asked, his voice both cautious and eager, "can anyone really experience the benefits of water you've spoken about? Or is it something that only a few people with great discipline can achieve?" Elder Kailash smiled, his eyes full of warmth and understanding. "Ah, Ravi, that is the beauty of water. Its power is accessible to everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from. The benefits of water are universal, available to anyone willing to honor its importance." But the elder raised a finger. As with all things, the key is consistency. It's not enough to simply drink more water. It's about drinking it the right way. You must listen to your body, pay attention to its needs, and be mindful of the balance. Ravi leaned in, eager to learn more. "But how do we know if we're drinking too much? You mentioned before that drinking too much can be dangerous." "Indeed," Elder Kailash said gravely, his tone shifting as he prepared to impart a deeper lesson. "It is crucial to understand that while water is life, like all powerful forces, it must be respected. Drinking too much water in a short amount of time can lead to something known as hyponatremia. This is a condition where the sodium levels in your blood drop to dangerously low levels. Your body's balance of fluids and salts is disrupted, and this can be life-threatening if it's not addressed." Ravi's eyes widened in alarm. He had always been told to drink plenty of water, but he had never heard of such risks. "Hyponatremia," Ravi repeated slowly, testing the word on his tongue. "How could something as pure as water cause that?" The elder nodded, as though he had expected Ravi's reaction. "Yes, it is one of the paradoxes of nature, my son. Even the most beneficial things, when consumed without wisdom, can become harmful. This is why it's not just about drinking as much water as possible, but about pacing yourself, being in tune with your body's rhythms. Water is powerful, but it must be treated with respect. When you drink too much too quickly, your body can't process it, and it dilutes the salts in your blood. It's like flooding the engine of a car with too much fuel. It stops working efficiently. Ravi nodded, beginning to grasp the gravity of what the elder was saying. So, it's not just about the amount, he said thoughtfully. It's about how and when we drink. Elder Kailash's face broke into a smile of approval. Exactly, he said. And remember the words of the great martial artist Bruce Lee. Be like water. Water has no form of its own, but it adapts to the shape of any container. Similarly, you must adapt your consumption to your body's needs. Be flexible, but consistent. Water is life, and when you harness its power properly, you are nourishing every cell in your being. Ravi smiled, grateful for the elder's wisdom, but his mind still wrestled with the idea of water being harmful. Master, he said, a hint of confusion lingering in his voice, I've always thought of water as something purely beneficial. How could something so necessary also be dangerous? The elder's face softened, and he leaned in closer, as though preparing to reveal a secret known to only a few. Ah, my dear student, he began, this is the lesson that many overlook. Water, like fire, can be both a giver and taker of life. While it is essential for survival, water can also become our enemy if we do not understand how to use it wisely. Ravi's brow furrowed in confusion, prompting Elder Kailash to continue. Water, when contaminated, can carry hidden dangers, bacteria, parasites, toxins, things that we cannot see with our eyes, but can cause great harm to our bodies. It's like a Trojan horse. It looks pure and safe, but it harbors enemies within. You may not know that you are drinking something dangerous until it's too late. The elder's words weighed heavily on Ravi. He had never considered that water, the simplest and most abundant resource, could hide such perils. But how do we know if water is safe to drink? Ravi asked, his concern evident. Elder Kailash's face brightened at the question, as if pleased by Ravi's growing awareness. An excellent question, he said. First, you must be vigilant about the source of your water. In many places, especially when you travel, the water may appear clear, but it can still be contaminated. Always check the reliability of your water source. Boil it if necessary, filter it, or rely on bottled water in unfamiliar areas. He paused, then added with a grin, and remember the words of Benjamin Franklin. In wine there is wisdom. In beer there is freedom. In water there are bacteria. It is a reminder that even the purest-looking water can carry hidden risks. Ravi smiled at the quote, but the elder wasn't finished. And beware of other drinks that disguise themselves as hydrating when, in fact, they rob your body of fluids. Alcohol, for example, is like a mirage in the desert. It gives you the illusion of quenching your thirst, but it dehydrates you more with every sip. It's a cruel trick played by your senses. Even sugary drinks like juices and soft drinks can do more harm than good. Their high sugar content can disrupt your body's balance, leaving you thirstier and more depleted. Ravi nodded, the teachings sinking deeper into his consciousness. He was beginning to see the complexity hidden within something as seemingly simple as water. And don't be fooled by bottled water, Elder Kailash added with a wink. Many people believe that bottled water is inherently better than tap water, but in many cases, it's simply tap water in disguise. We often pay more for the illusion of purity than for any real improvement in quality. Ravi sat back, processing everything he had learned. The elder's words were reshaping his understanding of water, turning what he had once thought of as simple into something profound and intricate. It's amazing, he said quietly, how something as basic as water can be so complex. There's so much more to it than I ever realized. Elder Kailash smiled knowingly, his eyes filled with the warmth of a teacher watching a student grow. That is life, my young friend. The simplest things often carry the greatest complexities, but with wisdom, patience, and attention, we can navigate these challenges and make the most of nature's gifts. Water is no different. It holds the power to sustain us, but it must be treated with respect, awareness, and care. The elder stood up slowly, signaling that the lesson was drawing to a close. Now that you have learned the secrets of water, you are ready to put them into practice. Drink mindfully, respect the source, and always be aware of your body's needs. In doing so, you will harness the true power of water. Ravi stood as well, feeling both the weight and lightness of this newfound knowledge. He had come to the elder seeking simple guidance, but what he had received was a profound understanding of one of nature's greatest forces. "Thank you, Master," Ravi said with a deep bow, his voice filled with gratitude. "I never knew there was so much wisdom in something as common as water." Elder Kailash smiled, his eyes twinkling with pride. "The common things in life often hold the deepest truths, my son. Now go, and may water not only quench your thirst, but nourish your mind and spirit as well." As Ravi walked away, he felt a profound sense of connection to the world around him. What had once been a simple, everyday act had transformed into something sacred, something imbued with meaning. Each sip of water, he now understood, was not just about survival, it was about honoring life itself. The young man's eyes lit up, brimming with excitement. He leaned forward, eager for the next steps. "What should I do, Master?" he asked earnestly. Elder Kailash smiled, seeing the determination in Ravi's gaze. "I propose a challenge," he said, his voice carrying both the seriousness and promise of the task ahead. "For the next 7 days, you will apply everything you've learned about the right way to drink water. By the end, I promise you, the changes you experience will surprise you. This is not just an idle exercise or game. It is a disciplined practice that could change your life. As the philosopher Seneca said, constancy and direction are the shortest path to success. And in this case, my son, success means a transformation in your health and vitality." Ravi's interest deepened, and he sat up straighter, preparing himself for the challenge. The challenge is simple in its conception but powerful in its results. Elder Kailash continued, his voice steady and calm. "There are 5 key steps, and each one builds on the other. First, always drink warm or room temperature water, never ice cold. Cold water shocks the system, while warm water flows harmoniously with your body's natural rhythms. Second, take small, frequent sips throughout the day. Do not rush to gulp down water in large amounts. The body absorbs water best when it comes slowly, allowing each drop to nourish your cells." Ravi nodded, already visualizing himself carrying out these practices. "Third," the elder said, holding up another finger, "listen to your body. Drink when you are thirsty. Do not force water into yourself when your body does not ask for it. Water, like wisdom, must be taken in when needed. Fourth, pay close attention to the color of your urine. This is a simple yet profound way to monitor your hydration levels. A pale, light color indicates good hydration, while dark yellow suggests you need more water. Adjust accordingly." Ravi's brow furrowed in concentration as he absorbed this new piece of knowledge. "And finally," the elder continued, "drink a glass of warm water upon waking each morning. This will activate your system, flushing out toxins and awakening your digestive tract after the night's rest. Think of it as gently watering the roots of your garden as the day begins." Ravi smiled at the analogy, finding it both simple and profound. But then, a thought crossed his mind, and he asked, "Master, how will I know if it's working? How can I be sure I'm seeing the benefits?" If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 5 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The elder chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of experience. "Ah, the impatience of youth," he said, shaking his head gently. "You must trust the process. Observe your body closely over the coming days. You will notice subtle, yet significant changes. It may be small things at first, a clearer mind, more energy in the morning, or fewer headaches, but they will build over time. In fact, recent studies by modern scientists support this ancient wisdom. Dr. Sharma, in his book Your Body's Many Cries for Water, confirms that proper hydration can alleviate everything from headaches to digestive problems within just a few days." Ravi's excitement grew as he began to envision the possibilities. He had suffered from low energy and occasional discomfort for as long as he could remember. Could something as simple as drinking water properly really have such a profound effect? Elder Kailash leaned forward slightly, his voice lowering to emphasize his next point. Imagine, Ravi, that your body is like a dry garden. Right now, it has been deprived of the proper care and hydration it needs to flourish. With this challenge, you will be watering it correctly, gently, steadily, and with intention. And soon, you will see the flowers of your health begin to bloom. Your energy will rise, your skin will glow, your digestion will improve, and your mind will become clear and focused. Ravi listened intently as the elder outlined the specific benefits he could expect. Increased vitality and energy are just the beginning, Elder Kailash said. You will experience better digestion, less acidity in the body, and a reduction in bloating and discomfort. Your skin will become more hydrated, giving you a healthy, glowing complexion. Mental clarity and focus will sharpen as your brain, too, becomes properly nourished by the water it craves. Even headaches, joint pain, and stiffness can ease as your body finally receives the hydration it has long been missing. Ravi could hardly believe that so many issues he had endured might be solved through something so seemingly simple. His mind raced with excitement at the prospect of a healthier, more vibrant version of himself. But, the elder warned, his voice turning serious once again, you must remember one thing, my son. Consistency is key. It is not about being perfect. It is about being steady and committed. As Aristotle once said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This challenge is about forming a habit of proper hydration. If you miss a day or make a mistake, do not give up. Simply pick up where you left off. The goal is progress, not perfection. Ravi felt the gravity of the elder's words. This was more than a simple health challenge. It was an invitation to change the way he lived, to form habits that would benefit him for the rest of his life. Master, I accept this challenge, Ravi said, his voice filled with determination. I will apply everything I've learned for the next 7 days, and I will see this through. Elder Kailash smiled, placing a hand on Ravi's shoulder. Good. I see the fire of determination in your eyes, and I know you will succeed. Remember to be patient with yourself and with the process. This is not just about water. It's about learning to listen to your body, to honor its needs, and to move through life with mindfulness. The elder stood, signaling the end of their conversation. Ravi rose as well, feeling a newfound sense of purpose. As he prepared to leave, Elder Kailash added one final piece of advice. Water, my son, is life itself. It is simple, but its power is vast. Use it wisely, and it will transform you. Ravi bowed deeply, filled with gratitude and respect for the wisdom the elder had shared with him. Thank you, Master, he said. I will begin immediately. As Ravi walked away from the elder's home, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of excitement and anticipation. This challenge, though rooted in something as basic as water, felt like the beginning of a profound transformation. He would no longer view hydration as a mundane task, but as a sacred practice that could elevate his health, his mind, and his spirit. The next 7 days would be a test of his discipline, but also an opportunity to unlock a new level of vitality and awareness. He felt ready to take on the challenge, confident that he would emerge stronger, healthier, and more connected to the wisdom of his own body. The air was still as Ravi stood before Elder Kailash, the last rays of the setting sun casting a warm glow on the mountains behind them. The young man's heart raced with a mix of anticipation and gratitude. Every lesson he had received from the elder thus far had left a profound mark on him, but the question that lingered in his mind had yet to be answered fully. Master, Ravi began, his voice steady. What more can I do to live a life in harmony with what you've taught me about water? What should I do next? Elder Kailash's wise, weathered face softened into a smile. His eyes, deep with years of wisdom, twinkled with the promise of more knowledge to come. Ah, my young apprentice, he said in a calm, deliberate tone. What you've learned about water is only the beginning. You've understood its role in sustaining your body. But now, you must learn how water can guide your spirit and your way of being in the world. Ravi furrowed his brow, intrigued but unsure of what his master meant. Guide my spirit, master? I thought water was just about hydration. The elder chuckled softly, shaking his head. No, Ravi, water is much more than that. It's a symbol of life, of adaptability, of persistence. Water is the most powerful teacher nature has to offer. And if you learn to live like water, you will unlock a life of peace, resilience, and wisdom. Ravi's curiosity deepened, and he leaned forward, eager to absorb this new perspective. Elder Kailash continued, his voice rich with the depth of his teachings. I propose a journey, the elder said. One that will last not for a week, but for the rest of your life. For the next 7 days, you will practice what you've learned about drinking water, about pacing yourself, drinking mindfully, and staying connected to your body's needs. But beyond that, I want you to study how water behaves in nature and apply those lessons to the way you live. Ravi's eyes widened. Study water's behavior? How do I do that? Elder Kailash smiled. It's simpler than you think. Begin by observing a stream or river. Watch how it flows, how it moves effortlessly around obstacles, how it doesn't force its way through, but finds its path naturally. Notice how it nourishes everything it touches, from the smallest blade of grass to the mightiest tree. Then, reflect on how you can live in a way that mirrors these qualities. Ravi nodded, beginning to understand. So, I should learn to be adaptable like water. Yes, the elder replied, his voice steady. But there's more. Water teaches us the value of persistence. Even the gentlest stream, over time, can carve through mountains. When you face challenges, do not try to overpower them with brute strength. Instead, flow around them, adapt to the situation, find a new way forward, and trust that with patience, you will overcome even the hardest obstacles. Ravi stood silently, letting the elder's words settle into his heart. The image of a river carving through stone filled his mind. And what about when I feel stuck, master? When life doesn't seem to flow at all? Elder Kailash's expression grew thoughtful. That's an important question, he said softly. When you feel stuck, you must remember that even when water appears still, it is not stagnant. A lake or a pond may seem calm, but beneath the surface, life is teeming, and change is always happening. When life seems still, it is not wasted time. It is a time for reflection, for quiet growth. Like water, you must learn to be patient in those moments, to allow things to unfold naturally without forcing progress. Ravi nodded again, the pieces of the puzzle coming together in his mind. So, even in stillness, there is purpose. Precisely, the elder replied, a spark of approval in his eyes. Water reminds us that everything has its season, its flow, and its pause. There are times for action, and there are times for stillness. Wisdom is knowing when to embrace each. Ravi's mind whirled with the depth of this teaching. What he had once thought was just a lesson about water had transformed into something far greater. The elder's words began to shift how he saw not just hydration, but life itself. And master, Ravi asked, how do I remain strong when life's currents are too powerful, when I feel overwhelmed? Elder Kailash smiled again, his face lit by the fading sunlight. That, my son, is one of the most profound lessons water can teach us. When the river rages and the currents are strong, water doesn't resist. It flows with the current, allowing itself to be carried by the power of the stream. When life feels overwhelming, do not resist what is happening. Surrender to the flow of events and trust that the current will carry you where you need to go. Resisting only creates more suffering. Flowing with life brings peace. Ravi felt a deep sense of calm wash over him as he listened. The wisdom in the elder's words resonated with something deep within him, something he had always known but had never fully grasped. So, it's about surrendering, not fighting. Exactly, Elder Kailash said, his voice quiet but firm. But surrender does not mean giving up. It means trusting that the flow of life, like the flow of a river, will take you where you need to go. It means allowing life to move through you, without clinging to outcomes or forcing your will upon the world. The young man stood there, feeling lighter, wiser, as if a great burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He realized now that the teachings about water were not just about health or survival. They were about how to live with grace, how to approach every moment with patience, flexibility, and trust. Master, Ravi said, his voice full of awe, I understand now. Water isn't just a source of life for the body. It's a guide for the soul. It teaches me how to be adaptable, how to persist, and how to let go. Elder Kailash nodded, pleased with his student's realization. Yes, my young apprentice. Water is the mirror of life itself. When you drink it mindfully, you are not just nourishing your body. You are reconnecting with the flow of nature, with the rhythms of the universe. Every sip is an opportunity to remind yourself to be like water, gentle yet powerful, adaptable yet unwavering in your purpose. As the sun sank fully behind the mountains, casting the valley in the soft glow of twilight, Elder Kailash turned toward the horizon and gestured to the river below. Look at the river, Ravi. Do you see how it flows, twisting and turning with the landscape, never once stopping, yet always finding its way forward? Ravi followed his master's gaze and nodded. Yes, master, I see it. The river moves without hesitation, flowing with ease around every bend. That is how you must move through life, the elder said softly. Flow with ease. Do not cling to the rocks or try to push them out of your way. Find the path that allows you to move forward with grace. Adapt to the circumstances, but never lose sight of your direction. And most importantly, remember that even in stillness, you are not stagnant. Like water, you are always growing, always evolving, even when you cannot see it. Ravi stood silently, the depth of his master's words sinking into his soul. He realized now that his journey had only just begun, that the lessons of water would continue to guide him long after he had left the elder's side. Thank you, Master, Ravi said, bowing deeply. I will carry these teachings with me always. Elder Kailash smiled warmly, placing a hand on Ravi's shoulder. Go now, my young friend, and remember every drop of water, every step you take, is part of the great flow of life. Trust it, and it will guide you to where you need to be. With those final words, Ravi turned and began his descent down the mountain. Each step felt lighter than the last, as if the weight of his worries had been carried away by the current of wisdom that flowed through him. As he walked, he felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that like the river, he too would flow through life, adapting, persisting, and always moving forward with grace and wisdom. And just as the river continued its endless journey through the valley below, so too would Ravi flow through the currents of his own life, unafraid of the obstacles, trusting in the power of his newfound understanding to guide him through whatever lay ahead. As we come to the end of this journey, I'd love to know, what have you learned so far? What's one thing from this video that you'll bring into practice in your daily life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these insights resonate with you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content. Your support means the world, and we look forward to growing together on this path to a healthier, more mindful life.